I'm Mom on the Right, and I just want to share with you a great opportunity for all of us. We're going to learn about the coronavirus. We're going to talk to a gentleman who is an advocate of the Constitution and our veterans. His name is Dr. Scott Magill, and he is the Executive Director of Veterans in Defense of Liberty. And sir, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be with you.
It's so interesting to me, your organization. Can you just tell me about, how concerned are you that we are going to lose our rights as American citizens and the Constitution? How much at stake are we? Are we in trouble, basically?
I think, to quote Jay Sekulow during the impeachment hearings, he said, "Danger, danger, danger." And I do believe I believe that we are genuinely in a very real civil war at the present time. We're losing our Constitution. We're losing our republic. And if we do not do something fairly quickly, because this has been going on for a long time. Okay. If we don't, America will become just another failed utopian state in a globalized world without borders. So, yeah, I do believe we have a lot. I think it's an honor that we live in times such as these. But we are called to stand up and save what we have inherited, and that's this great republic.
And just to let our audience know that this gentleman here, he left his practice. He was a physician. So you definitely have a passion for our country. Can you tell me about, your connection with the veterans and getting them, encouraging them to stand up for the Constitution, America, and to unite them as well?
Well, I'll backtrack just a little bit to give you some history, if I may.
Oh, please do. Thank you.
And I served from 1965 to 1971 in the United States Marine Corps, and then from 1981 to 88 in the United States Army Medical Corps. And in 2010, 2011, we launched, I closed the practice after a lot of years and a lot of deliveries, and launched Veterans in Defense of Liberty, because somebody had said to me, and it hit home so strong. He said, if America is going to be saved, veterans will save her. And
that's a very profound statement.
It's a very powerful statement, but we have every veteran has sworn to defend and protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and they understand that oath did not vanish when we hung up the uniform for the last time. So it is. I believe, like I said a moment ago, we are in a real civil war. It's being fought on the invisible battlefield of ideas, but it is potentially more crucial than even the Civil War in the 1860s, not to take anything away from that. But both the North and the South had different ideas on some issues, but they had the same values. They had the same love for this country. And that is not the case today. I think our enemy on the invisible battlefield does not appreciate the freedoms that we have, that they've been given, and desire to see. I mean, we're openly speaking in terms of socialism in our debates and in the conversations in the news media, and that is frightening.
Thank you. It's, I have to bring this up because not only we have Bernie and the far left. I used to be a liberal, as my viewers know, and I don't remember him being so far left. There's nothing center. Ilhan Omar said something the other day, and I really wanted to talk to you about it. It really upset me. It upset me so much that I just did a video in my kitchen. She said that all Americans, and this is socialism too, should have partake in all the veteran benefits. And like, GI Bill. And I was just so highly offended by it. Can you just comment on these radical ideas?
Well, I think we have a real problem when we have somebody who does not support our Constitution trying to serve we the people. I think it's a great idea. Maybe they should all have veterans benefits after they all serve,
Precisely. You're not willing to die for our country. You don't get them. And actually, I think they deserve more.
Oh, yeah, if you think about it, in reality, that is part of, first of all, every American veteran has paid the price, and did not get paid a lot while they were serving. That's for darn sure. Veteran benefits are just a part of the package. They're part of the contract that we all signed. And if they want to sign that contract, then every American should, but not to be handing that out. It's all, dear friend, we'll talk about Champions of Liberty in a little bit, but one of our staunch supporters is John Ashcroft, Attorney General Ashcroft. And he frequently says America has fought 3 wars for independence: the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, and now. And that's powerful and that's part of what she's saying. This is all part of free stuff. He also says, people used to immigrate to the United States for freedom, and now they come for free stuff. And that's what the left is offering, free stuff, which cannot work, No,
it's not sustainable. And I'm really concerned. What I'm concerned about for our veterans is that, why, or people that want to go into the military be like, you know what, why am I going to risk my life? Everyone gets the same thing, and I'm not respected. And what I appreciate about Donald Trump, I don't agree with him on everything, but he loves our military men and women. And what's your biggest goal with the organization? Ultimately, if you had a magic wand, what would you like to ultimately see with your organization? What do you want to accomplish?
Well, our goal is to continue to honor the oath, to return America to the constitutional republic that it's intended to be, to allow freedom. When we veterans raised our hands to protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, we did so not for some piece of paper enshrined in our collective memory, but for the society it established and has guided for all these many years. And we've been willing to fight and die so that those left at home could be able to benefit from the greatness of this great nation and the society, precisely because we defended the framework upon which it's all established. And that's what we're fighting for right now, that to maintain that framework. And it's funny, a lot of times people will say, you really need to stay with veterans issues and fight for veterans issues. We do fight for some veterans issues, but the reality is any issue that threatens our society, our way of life, our cultural heritage is a veterans issue. That's what we swore to defend, because first and foremost, every American veteran is an American. And we're not some group to be put on a demographic chart somewhere. Because we have been willing to risk all, because we serve something greater than self, we have maybe a heightened sense of a continued duty to make certain that the sacrifices 1.5 to 2 million veterans have died since the Revolutionary War. And we are going to assure, and they did so for freedom, not for our freedom, but so that freedom will extend to the very end of time. We are only the caretakers. We're the stewards of that freedom. And we are fighting now to assure that their sacrifice was not made in vain.
I think many of them, if they were here today, would be like, what is going on? You know, our founding fathers as well. Like, they probably wouldn't recognize the nation. Kind of getting off of that, now the coronavirus is taking all the headlines, as you know. Everyone's afraid. Can you give me some, oh, doctor. There's a lot of scare tactics, but we don't know what's back from fiction. So can you speak on this, please? I don't want to leave my house. I shouldn't leave the house, right?
Mm-hmm. I think I missed just a little part of that. So you want to go into the coronavirus?
I'm just concerned. I'm like, we don't know what's fact from fiction. How concerned should we be?
I think we should be concerned, not necessarily. Digress just a minute. You know, you've had the coronavirus. I've had the coronavirus. Coronavirus just causes a cold. What we are seeing that is coming out of China is it's called a novel coronavirus, which means a new coronavirus.
Oh boy.
The actual name of it is a 2019 nCoV virus. But where I am concerned, and we don't hear I mean, I just heard this morning that there is a group in California now that has developed a vaccine for it, which is phenomenal.
Wow.
But there's a thing we hear, and we're supposed to believe only what China tells us. And this came out of Wuhan, as did SARS, which was also a coronavirus. And they're telling us everything is that it came from a snake, which is possible, but they do have a large bioscience laboratory in Wuhan that we're not hearing about. That's part of the Chinese Academy of Science. In 2017, a group of global scientists warned China, because they're not overly cautious, that a virus could escape. If this gets a little confusing, to keep it as straight as possible, a virus is not ever, it's still not determined. Some people believe it's alive and some think it's not. It's not like any other cell. It's not like a bacteria. It's not living. It just as it has DNA or RNA surrounded by a protein coat. And when you get infected by a virus, it invades the cells of your body, and the cells of your body will make a new virus. If two viruses invade your body and invade a cell, then a lot of the genetic material can be transferred, and you end up all of a sudden with a new virus called a recombinant virus. And the coronavirus, novel coronavirus we're talking about now, is a recombinant virus. What is going on in a lot of places, and I would imagine in China, is that there is a lot of work being done on recombinant studies where they are working at creating new viruses. We know the Chinese have no problem tissue matching prisoners and vagrants to match with the political office holders, so that if one of their ranking office holders needs a new kidney, they will try one that matches his tissue type, and convict him, execute him, harvest his kidneys, and throw the carcass away. that they're willing to do that, they are surely willing to be able to use vagrants to study with. Now, probably, my supposition is probably that's been going on and some of these got out. I mean, it could be spread through the air or water, but if they are using somebody, somebody got out and that started the crisis that we're in. Although it's not impossible to consider the possibility of something more nefarious, something like weaponizing citizens with a virus that has a long latency period, which this one does, which means that you have it for a long time and you're contagious for a long time before you really get sick. And if it has a long latency period and is very highly, it causes a lot of fatalities, it could be a real weapon. And so there are things that we just need to find out what China is really doing. Why does SARS and this novel coronavirus both come out of Wuhan?
Yeah, I'm not really surprised
Yeah.
with your observations and what you found out. I mean, it's the human rights and everything else with China. I know we got to keep peace with them, but boy, you know, and you mentioned something. You know what really scares me? They can sell this to other countries, like the Taliban, groups like the Taliban or something like that. You know, so it's a bigger problem. You believe this is a bigger problem?
Well, I think it is a bigger problem. I had a lot of concern back years ago when Ebola was coming out. Things like the Taliban, who has no compunction against using children as shields, as human shields. If they could come up with a really bad virus and send them across the border, you know, we could have a tremendous plague here in the United States and never figure out where it came from.
Whew. Okay, we're gonna move it to a little bit more lighter note before we
Let's
end.
do that.
It's not really light, but I mean, you wanted to make a prediction on who was going to win the presidency. What are your thoughts? I don't think the Democrats have anybody strong enough. What is your opinion?
I believe Donald Trump will win. Yeah. I believe wholeheartedly that Donald Trump winning the first time was very similar to the Revolutionary War. We should not have won either one of those were it not for divine providence. So I think he is going to. I think he's going to win. The left has gotten so unhinged. You know, they have taken. They profess the desire for socialism, but they have taken it a step beyond that now. I mean, it's almost what they're doing is Hitlerian. You know, tell a big lie enough times and it'll be believed, and the victor never gets asked, were you telling the truth? I mean, that came from Hitler. It's a matter of they will do anything they can to win. And if they win, I always like to say, if you think about something very near and dear to my heart is the abortion issue.
Yeah.
And now they're willing to lay a child aside after it's born and decide if they want to let it live or not. They don't hate those children, but they hate you and me. You know, imagine what they would be willing to do to us. I mean, a socialized nation is just, we are fighting Veterans in Defense of Liberty.
Okay.
And through our Champions of Liberty program is fighting to make sure that never happens. Because like I said before, I mean, Reagan said, yeah, if not now, when? If not who? You know, if not us, who? And he said that freedom was only one generation away from extinction. And that's what we have to stand up against. And we've got right on our side. And we have to, the conservatives have never really set a goal. The left has a goal, But we need to set a goal, and everybody needs to be engaged. Every true American that understands what it means to be an American needs to be engaged in securing the freedom and liberty for our children and grandchildren. But we're not fighting just for America.
Right.
Because if you think about it, if America goes down, so goes the rest of the world. And I don't want to be in that generation that is forever known for letting freedom disappear.
I mean, it's again a sobering thought, and it requires a lot of reflection, because liberty, if we want to enjoy what we're enjoying, we need to take a stand. And I want to thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on the show and just spending some time with us. And
oh, it's a pleasure. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh goodness! But thank you so much, and what you're doing, and being a champion for all Americans. And thank you for coming on. We look forward to maybe doing a follow-up with no
Absolutely.
phone ringing.
I would love to. You can tell I'm fairly unopinionated, but we'll think of something.
I love it. That's what we want. We want that. We want that freedom of speech, right?
There you go.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much, sir.
You bet. Talk to you later.